Andrea Photo here doing a little test. Well, this is an interesting area I have for you today. I am at the beach. So I'm here right now in Bacnotan. We're spending our Holy Week here. But we recently had a pretty good event. We have something called a pop-up darkroom. So what this is it's a portable darkroom that you can bring anywhere, pop up. It's fully light tight. You can put it anywhere and basically do some silver gelatin prints. Alright, let's talk a little bit more about this tent. So what is this tent? So this is the Ilford Pop Up Darkroom. So what it is it's basically a portable, lightweight, easily deployable, light tight tent that you can get your silver gelatin prints going in anywhere. So Ilford made this specifically or for people who need to work in a light safe environment in the field. So our good friends over at Filmfolk, thank you Ronald for letting us borrow Ilford's pop-up darkroom tent to use at this event. We've always wanted to have an event wherein we showcase that analog photography and silver gelatin printing is still very much alive. What else can I say? We had no problem setting up this tent during the event. It's very easy to deploy and it can comfortably house 1 to 2 people. You can put your Enlarger in there. You can have a table. You can have a few trays. You can make silver gelatin prints in there. It has provisions for an exhaust fan. It has provisions also for a safe light. It's a pretty compact workspace that can get the job done. Okay, let's talk about the goals for this project. So for the longest time, I've had this Ilford Pop-Up Darkroom tent. It's been lent to us by Filmfolk, but it was sitting in my storage closet for the longest time. I really didn't know what to do with it. I knew I wanted to do an event, but I didn't know what event would hit the right spot. Luckily for us, in comes Hot Cat Cafe. So Hot Cat Cafe is a third wave coffee shop here in Baguio City. For me, I would have to say it's my favorite coffee shop, and that is saying a lot for coffee in Baguio. I'm not much of a coffee drinker. I'm not as nerdy into coffee as I am into analog photography or darkroom silver gelatin printing. The people over at Hot Cat are, shout out to Doc Ali, Ma'am Len and Mark. Thank you again for giving us the opportunity to have this event in your cafe. The goal for this project was to show the general public that analog photography and silver gelatin printing are still very much alive here in Baguio City. We were looking for an avenue which was very public, had a lot of foot traffic that could get curious people to ask about the process, to interact with the community. And we wanted a public space where the community could gather together, hang out, develop, shoot film, make silver gelatin prints, and have a good time while showing other people that analog photography is here to stay. So we set a date with the owners of Hot Cat on when we could deploy the pop-up darkroom at their cafe. The date was set April 5, 2025, and it just so happened that on the same day, there was another event happening at the cafe grounds. So the other event was called Baguio Craft Fair. It's basically a fair of craft makers, people who make things with their hands, artists. So that was very good for us as well because it meant that although our darkroom was not part of that event, since we were tied to Hot Cat, there would be more people at the venue and therefore more people could see that analog photography and silver gelatin printing is still very much alive. Man, I am sweating. It is hot. So let's go back a little bit to the goals. So again, our goals for the event was to have maximum exposure and to show people that analog photography and silver gelatin printing are still very much alive in Baguio City. So to do that, we came up with certain ideas to engage the community, as well as to engage curious onlookers who are curious about analog photography or darkroom printing. I couldn't have done this by myself. Again, this was a community-led effort. So, in order to meet our goals, to show people that analog photography is still alive, I enlisted the help of core members of the Baguio film community. Each of these core members had their own specialty that they could show, that they could expo, that they could demo during the event in order to show the general public just what they could do. So let me run you through a few of the core members who made this event possible. So the first one is Jason Ashong. Jason, as you all know, if you don't know, I had a previous video. He recently exhibited his silver gelatin prints of La Trinidad in none other than the Ayala Museum, Makati. So anyway, Jason was kind enough to volunteer his services or his expertise in actually making the silver gelatin prints. So he volunteered to bring his Enlarger and to man the pop-up darkroom. So he was basically the one printing all of the negatives that we submitted to him throughout the day. So that's Jason. He took care of all the printing. Another one is Russel, Cordillera wet plate. So we wanted also to show people that it's not that hard to develop your own film. So what Russell did, he took charge of the developing aspect during the event. He brought his developing tank, and he was the one who mixed chemicals, developed negatives, and hung them outside our darkroom for the whole world to see that it's not that hard to develop your own film. Okay, another core member who was very instrumental to the event was Ja Amores and Fidel. So Ja, what she did is she came up with these beautiful posters. Basically, she was all the public materials woman. So she came up with the event poster, and she also came up with a nice series of posters on how to develop your own film. So we put these posters up around the darkroom tent during the event so that curious onlookers could actually get a little bit of an idea of what it takes to develop your own film. And of course, we have Ian. Ian, thank you very much for helping. Ian was our tech guy. So he came up with this ingenious idea of actually hooking up a video camera to show the outside onlookers what it's like to print in the darkroom. So let me say this again. So there are a lot of people who are curious about what goes on inside that darkroom tent. Unfortunately, we can't expose it to the public. We can't expose it to normal light. So people might be wondering what's happening in there. What is Jason actually doing inside that darkroom? So Ian came up with this idea how to hook up a video camera and stream a live feed out onto a laptop to show the public what actually is happening inside the darkroom. I don't know if this is the first time that it's been done, but we're very happy with the results. It demystified what was happening inside the darkroom per se. What was the most beautiful part about that live stream is it showed the image coming to life as you agitated the silver gelatin coated paper in those chemicals. And of course, we can't forget our core members, Gari and Faith. Thank you very much. So Gari and Faith took care of engaging the community. So we had this idea. We came out with a community camera. What is a community camera? So basically, it was an analog camera loaded with free film that we passed around during the event. We just wanted people to experience the joy of shooting film. So it was a Olympus OM1 kitted out with 3 lenses, a 50mm, a 28mm, and a 135mm. It was loaded up with Ilford HP5, and it was freely passed around to anyone who was willing to hold it during the event. It did make its rounds. It's made its rounds a lot. There were, I don't know how many people held that camera during the event. And the beautiful thing about that is they took pictures of exhibitors during the Baguio Craft Fair, of the cafe owners at Hot Cat or people having their coffee in Hot Cat. They just took pictures of people during that day. We developed the photos, we developed the film on the same day, and we printed a few of the pictures as well on the same day. So that was our idea. Take film photographs of people during the event, print them out, and give them to the people at the event. Just something to give back a little to the community. So the event was very, very fun. We really had a lot of fun during the event. And it was fun having our own little area. Again, thank you, Hot Cat, where we could engage the community and engage curious people. We had a lot of people come up and ask about the darkroom, which was our main goal and which we were so happy about. We had this idea to hang all of the silver gelatin prints and all of the developed negatives on a clothesline right outside the darkroom. So it was more of a in-your-face kind of thing that we wanted people to stop and stare and look and ask and talk. And I think we really got that going. We connected with a lot of people. A lot of old community members came. A lot of old film shooters were very surprised that there was a darkroom deployed there. And there were a lot of people who have never touched an analog film camera or who have never held a silver gelatin print. They were able to hold a silver gelatin print for the first time. They were able to shoot an analog a film camera for the first time. Well, for one thing, printing in the darkroom during that day was pretty hard. Although we did have an air intake, we had a fan blowing in some air into the darkroom. It got a bit stuffy. Jason kind of got overheated, but that's nothing a little beer couldn't fix. Towards the end of the day, as we were packing up, we cracked open a Coleman full of ice-cold beers, which was a special request of Ma'am Len. So Ma'am Len, shout out. We had a few beers with the Hot Cat owners, with Mark specifically. We had a few beers with the community, and we passed a few beers around to anyone who wanted to come by and grab a drink. It was a really good day for film photography, a really good day for community, and a really good day for us. I think I am done with this video. I am gonna get out of this heat. So, guys, this was the Ilford Pop Up Darkroom tent. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Let's connect. Let's connect. More film community shooters out there, the better. Again, this is Andrea Photo, and as always, I will see you guys in the next one.